All right, guys. We've got a lot to discuss today, man. We've got a lot to discuss today. We have a whole lot to discuss today. Good morning, guys. It's good to have you here. We're upset. We're upset right now for good reason. There's a lot of people. Actually, the Reddit is up in flames right now. Twitch is up in flames right now. The salvaging stations are so empty compared to what they were yesterday. And there's reason for that. Jagex has made some major changes to sailing today, and you know what? We're gonna discuss them. We're gonna go over them. We're gonna talk about them, the good, the bad, the ugly, basically just everything. We're gonna talk about all of the news posts this morning. I've already written up some notes on it so we can discuss pretty quickly, but there is a lot to talk about. First off, just a show of like what you feel about the update so far, guys. Just good or bad. Just a good or bad. I just want to see kind of what the Twitch chat thinks. And this is the current state of the game right now. This is the current, like, this is everyone in the game. Everyone is this upset about it. Now, the reason is everyone that is saying bad was AFK salvaging Mega yesterday for, very good XP rates. So that's why they're upset. We'll talk about it. Let's get into this. Let's discuss a bit. First, I'm not even gonna go through this news post in order. Instead, I'm gonna hop around a bit because what I want to talk about first is the big one, which is salvaging, and that's kind of like at the end of this. But I'm just gonna go to that now, and we're gonna talk about that first. I'm just gonna have to find it, so give me a sec. Shipwreck salvaging. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about this, right? So this was intended as being the AFK training method. Everyone knows this. We've mega AFK'd this thing, and most people have mega AFK'd it by having both of their guys on the hooks, and then they were just doing the cleaning, right? They'd grab their salvage after AFKing for 30 minutes, and then they'd clean the inventory, and they were getting pretty decent XP rates. And if you weren't doing it with a crystal extractor, say you were on the opulent salvage or the high level salvage, you were probably seeing about like 60 to 70k XP rates. And if you were doing the extractor as well, you could bump that up a good bit, right? And that was like mega chill, like not moving your boat, just like hands off, right? I think a lot of people would agree that was probably overtuned. That was probably too much XP per hour. But the problem is that, we had that, it was taken away, so people are upset. All right, let's talk about what they kind of, write out, all the different situations to AFK. There's a lot of different permutations of what you can do with salvaging, which is why it makes it very hard for Jagex to balance it, right? Oh, I just deactivated my crystal extractor. What a nerf, man. So it's a tough thing to balance because of all of these different ways to do it. So without going through every bit of this, what they've done effectively is nerf salvaging. AFK, like the full AFK you were doing before, is probably nerfed by a little bit over 40%, I would say. That's what came out of this. Instead of like reading every single aspect of everything here, let's just talk. AFK salvaging was probably nerfed by about 40%, maybe a little bit more. And I'll talk about why it's a little bit more. By the math, it kind of works out to 40%. But there's another thing that Jagex isn't considering, or hasn't considered, I think, which is there are now 6 shipwreck salvages at all sites. So if you haven't noticed already this morning, it's actually less AFK than it used to be, because there used to be 5 shipwreck salvages at all sites, right? Which means only 3 of them could be up at a time. So you had a 40% chance to not have an AFK salvage spot on you. You had a 60% chance that you had one of your spots up, and a 40% chance that they weren't, right? Now there's 6 spots at all of them. There's 3 double spots at all of them. Easier to park, but instead of having that 40% chance of not having one up, you now have a 50% chance of not having one up, because only 3 of them are active at a time out of the 6, rather than 3 active out of 5. So that's actually worse overall. What Jagex should do, just first of all, to fix that, make it to where there's 4 active, or at least a chance for sometimes for there to be 4 active, because it's genuinely worse to just sit fully AFK now, just based off of that, okay? But let's talk about some more. They changed how player salvaging works, okay? So players used to salvage at a 4-tick rate. They lowered that to 5 ticks, which means, it means a couple things. It means that you're actually more AFK overall, because it takes longer for you to fill up your inventory, and they offset that by giving you more experience when you salvage it, right? So more experience, but longer, which means more AFK with about the same XP rate. It actually works out to a little bit less XP rate. But the crewmates used to salvage at a 3-tick rate, which was supposedly applied incorrectly, and Oh yeah, I'm sorry, you're right. The salvaging experience went down. The accuracy of salvaging, the chance to salvage went up. So that's how it hit offset. My bad. But anyways, crewmates used to salvage at a 3-tick rate, which was apparently wrong. They actually moved that from 3 ticks to 5 ticks to match the player. So mega nerf on the crewmates. That's actually way worse on the crewmates. Double salvage spots, you know, there's easy to park stations now, so that's good, but there needs to be more active salvaging up at any time. They also made it to where one of the gyms can also do the dragon hook, so you actually do have reason to go for 2 dragon hooks now. So if you did have that on your boat, or if you were, you know, looking at just stopping at 1, you can actually go for 2 now because 2 crewmates can use it. So maybe that's a good thing overall. Not super consequential, I'd say, but maybe a good thing overall. They increased the success rate of salvaging though, right? So like I said, they lowered the amount of experience from salvaging. So merchant, like I'm at merchant, went from 200 to 190. Fremennik went from 162 to 150. Like these are not dropped too much. They lowered this a bit, but they increased the success rate. However, this doesn't really matter that much because you salvage slower now, right? So it kind of all balances itself anyways. Let's just go over this section again. You get slightly more experience now. You get a slightly higher increased rate to actually pull up salvage, but it's slower, 5-tick instead of 4-tick. Now, what does that mean for you guys? If you're AFKing, it's not that much different than it used to be. It's going to take you longer to fill up your inventory, so it gives you a slightly longer AFK on your own hook, right? It makes it much longer for your guys to fill up your salvage, I think, which is bad overall for me. What it does improve is if you're tick manipulating, and that's why they did it this way. They may not have said that, but that's why they lowered this to 5-tick for you and your crewmates, because now if you want to come here and 1.5-tick tick manipulate it, it actually is much better than the AFK. That was their balance to it. So yeah, unfortunately, they did this because they have to balance 1.5 ticking instead of just removing the ability to 1.5 tick, I believe is what they did. What I think they should do is step this back a little bit, remove the chance to 1.5 tick, and still allow someone to 2 tick instead of 1.5 tick. But they have to balance that for tick manipulating. It sucks, but that's how they chose to do it. I don't think it's the greatest. It's not terrible overall. What I do think is terrible is this right here. I am not a fan of this at all. Cleaning your salvage is not worth it anymore. For salvaging to be good now, for salvaging to be good experience or decent experience now, cleaning salvage is worthless. What you should do now is drop all of your salvage that you just spent the time to get, that you were manually doing one hook yourself and had a guy doing your other one, or you were 1.5 ticking actively, and then drop all your salvage. So the whole purpose behind salvage of pulling up salvage to clean the salvage to see what you get is pointless, because you should just pull up salvage and then get rid of the salvage now. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of the change. They overcooked this nerf. I understand they don't want it to be as strong as it was, but Jagex, what you're forgetting is the major nerf to salvaging and the good XP rates was this thing right here. You've already dropped this by 20k an hour. That's this you can't see it because my thing's up. This thing right here being 20k an hour less, salvaging is already way worse, right? Here's the fix. If you wanted to remove that, leave salvaging how it was and make it to where you can't use your crystal extractor when your boat's not moving. That's your fix. Put salvaging back, remove the crystal extractor from salvaging. People can still AFK, but they don't get an additional 34k an hour. There's a thought. Either way, if they decide to do that or not, this is overcooked. It's ridiculous that we get a 200% nerf to you know, merchant salvage cleaning. All of the higher level salvage, the cleaning goes down. Meet us in the middle. If you actually, Jagex actually, I know I'm ranting a little bit here because like I'm a little bit passionate about this, but Jagex actually used a term somewhere in this of like, you know, meet us in the middle. I forget, you know, what they said, but put this at like 65% or 65 XP or something like that. Put it at like 65 XP. 34 is ridiculous. It's way too overcooked. The spots are less AFK than they used to be. The guys suck now, and I just think that's way too overcooked. I fully AFK'd this morning to see what it was going to be like, right? No extractor, just my guys on the hooks, and it's like in the low 30s KXP per hour. Low 30s, right? If you've noticed something real quick, I'm on, you know, world 356, so I'm not on one of the higher active worlds, which is why this is down still. But if you notice, like, these things are going to stay down for way longer now because there's 6 salvaging spots instead of 5 salvaging spots now. So there's a 50% chance that one of your 2 is not up rather than a 40% chance that one of your 2 is not up because they added an additional one. It's not a nerf that I think they intended. This is fantastic, by the way, Jagex. Great job here. Honestly, the fact that I can hop worlds and these guys get back on what they most recently were doing, yes, that's the kind of change we want. That's fantastic. Thank you for that. Let's look at either removing the extractor when your boat's not moving, but putting salvaging back up to where it was, or leave the extractor where it is. Let me auto restart salvage when the boat comes up, when you know this thing comes up. If I was on that, let my own player automatically redo that, and let's meet in the middle at the salvaging station and bump that back up to like 65 XP instead of 34. This is just a ridiculous nerf. Why is the nerf here 2.5 experience, 13 15.5? Why is this one this insignificant, but the high level one is 1/3 of what it used to be? It simply doesn't make sense. This is too much. Put this at 65 experience. It's fine how it is. It doesn't need to be as low XP rate as you want it to be right now. You guys want it to be Redwood rates. You want this to sit AFK at like 60k an hour, but running courier tasks is 160k an hour before you buffed it today. Which, by the way, your buff is wrong, and I'll talk to you about why your buff is wrong and why your buff is not as much of a buff as you think it is. You said you buffed it 15%. It's closer to 5%. We'll talk about that. This doesn't need to be 60k an hour when I can go do Barracuda trials at 210k an hour, or maybe a little bit less now because they nerfed the extractor. Okay. Anyways, let's narrow this one down a little bit more, and please consider it sooner than next week. You've got all of this goodwill so far, Jagex, when it comes to sailing. It's been a fantastic update. Do not ruin that goodwill by waiting too long to balance salvaging a little bit better. Okay? If nothing else, if you do zero else, make it to where when I touch this thing and this ship drops and then it comes back up, my character automatically restarts salvaging because I'm literally on the hook. I shouldn't have to re-engage with that. Cabin Boy Jenkins doesn't have to re-engage with that. I shouldn't have to either. My stuff is already limited by my inventory space. Let's, if nothing else, make that change tomorrow. I got to change my other guy. We got to start going with other Jim now. Okay. They fixed a bug to where if you're docked at a mooring point instead of an actual port, you would log back in to your recent port. That's a good thing. So now if you wanted to do the serpent or the merchant salvage that's all the way in the south and you wanted to bank things for some reason at Sunbleak, you can actually do that now without getting reset to Deep Fin Point. So thank you for fixing that. That's fantastic. Frost Dragons. They lowered the Frost Dragon respawn timer just as we discussed. I suggested earlier this week and I think last week that they take it down from 18 seconds to 5 seconds. They made it 4.5 seconds. Even better. Fantastic change. Good fix for now, even if it doesn't stay permanently. That's very good. Thank you, Jagex, for that, because it's big. They added a Frost Dragon Slayer Cave. Also, we found out that the Frost Dragon Dragon Metal Sheet Drop is much more common if you're on task. It's a 1 in 55 on task versus a 1 in 200 off task. Not bad. Better than I expected it to be. I expected it to be 1 in 100 off on task and 1 in 200 off. That's better. It's not great. And the nails aren't increased drop rate, which is unfortunate. I think they should also look at increasing the nail drop rate if you're going to increase that on task. But that's good. I also heard, I haven't seen it, but I heard that there's more Frost Dragons in the cave now. Fantastic. Good stuff. Ship combat. Can't save spot on the hull. Wait, did they remove the ability to save spot on the hull? They changed how mobs path around the boat. Oh, I'm sorry. So I was wrong. I thought they made no changes to bounty tasks, but instead they simply made it worse. Okay, Jagex, listen. You don't want sailing to be a combat skill. You don't want the meta to level sailing to be combat. I understand that. Right now, bounty tasks how they are, if you're doing it decently, going for the drops that you want people to go for, it sits around 80k an hour. Not good, not bad. Very active. You have to build if you're an Iron Man, or you have to buy if you're a main. The repair kits to upkeep your boat, so that's time that you need to consider, right? Or a cost that you need to consider to offset the XP per hour. Listen, I understand you don't want sailing to be a combat skill, but you added cannons to my boat. you should incentivize the fact that I should use cannons. Now, the incentive right now is to go for the collection log slots, okay? So, fair play, okay? But you don't want it to be a combat thing. Yeah, you made it to where I got to get 40,000 salvages that you nerfed to get the dragon cannon barrel. And this thing's just barely better than that thing. Like, come on, man. What are we doing? Loot logger tracks better? Yeah, I don't know, man. Still, I think they should look at that. I'm not certain that doing 2 tasks at the same time is worth it right now. Or not worth it, but I'm not certain that 2 of the same NPC at the same time is working properly right now. I think all they should do, the only thing Jagex should do when it comes to improving the doubled up bounty task, getting 2 albatross tasks at a time, or 2 krakens, or 2 great white sharks at a time, is make it to where you can harvest both a jaw and a liver, or an ink and a tentacle in the same kill. You should be able to roll for both of those in the same kill. There's no reason that I can't kill a shark and then take its liver and take its jaw in the same kill. And right now that can't happen, so you'd hit more true drop rates and it would be a very slight buff, or really where it should be if they made that happen. So just very small improvement, you know, on that note. Deep sea trawling, they talked about a little bit. I can't really speak to it. I haven't done it. I'm going to pass on that one. Drop rates. Great white sharks actually did get improved today. They were supposed to drop dragon metal sheets, keel parts, large keel parts, whatever else. But they weren't working for whatever reason. They were supposed to drop them and they didn't. So great whites actually got a buff today. They actually do have a chance to drop metal sheets and the keel parts, dragon metal keel parts and stuff like that now. So that's good overall. Sucks that most of us have already gone for our dragon hook, but you know, it is what it is. I'm glad that they've at least identified that and looked at it. I still think that this is a little bit too rare. I think this is a little bit too rare. Honestly, I feel like a lot of these things are a little bit too rare, honestly. I don't know what Jagex did with the Swift Albatross feather. The news post today claimed that the feather is a 1 in 300 drop rate. Now, I don't know if they changed that, but it wasn't a 1 in 300 drop rate before. Feather. Swift. 1 in 200. I'm sorry, 1 in 200. So this right here, let's talk about this. The albatross feather, the Swift albatross feather, this is what you make your gale catcher with. And the ray barbs. This says that this is a 1 in 200. This is a 1 in 30 to a 1 in 50, somewhere around there before today. I don't know if they changed it today to where the albatross feather is now 1 in 200, but this is either wrong or it needs to be changed. The wiki has this at a 1 in 35. My drop rate has this at about a 1 in, I don't even know, 1 in 30 maybe? So that's either wrong or they just nerfed the heck out of that. I've got 323 albatross kills for 11 feathers, about a 1 in 30 drop rate. But their news post says 1 in 200. I'm guessing that the news post is just wrong there, but if they change this to a 1 in 200, holy crap, Jagex. What are you thinking? What else do we have? Salvaging uniques. Let's talk about salvaging uniques a little bit. Since they released the drop rates of this, we got the rates of the salvaging uniques. We know what all these things are, right? Obviously, we found out that well, actually, we already know this, but the unique collection log items for salvaging, again, it was bad before. It just got worse, okay? 1 in 3,000 for all 8 of these items. But the meta now is to drop your salvage. If you want salvaging to be good now, you're supposed to drop your salvage. And if you want to go for these items, you got nerfed XP rates now. 1/3 what it used to be for these last ones. Let's talk a bit more about the drop rates. We have the boat paints. You only are able to roll the Barracuda paint if you make the time. We were talking about this yesterday. We assume this to be the case, and it's the Marlin time as well. You can only get it from the Marlin time. So if you want the Barracuda boat paint, Marlin Temper Tantrum, probably your play. I might actually go for that before 99. Why? Because I don't want to do 400 Gwyneth glides for it, honestly. The shark paint, 1 in 36 from completing any port task. This is bounty or this is courier task. I think that's a bit overtuned versus other ones, but I think they want one to be common anyway, so it is what it is. The inky, good lord. The 1500 vampire krakens takes so long. Good lord is all I'm saying for that. For something that's chewing the crap out of your ship. The anglers, good lord, Jagex. The salvers, good lord, Jagex. There's no way you just nerfed this to the ground and then you still want me to get 24,000 kills on average to get a stupid paint. And if I want it for my big boat, I need 2 of them. Listen, whoever is the... Who designed the nightmare drop rates? Whoever did that is the person that put this at 1 in 24,000, put the cannon at 1 in 20,000, and put the anglers at 1 in 18,000. I'm sorry, Arcane, get off the wheel. I know this is you, Arcane. Knock it off. You could cut this in half and it's still ridiculous. This 1 in 10,000 to me makes sense. And I've cleaned 20,000 of these things already. And if you made it 1 in 10,000, I wouldn't even be upset that I've already cleaned 20,000 of them, honestly. 1 in 10,000 is what this should be. It's a minute upgrade. It is a minuscule upgrade over the rune. It's not that significant. Bounty tasks suck. Bounty combat sucks. Ship combat sucks. Don't make us spend 8 million experience getting 2 of these to take them to something that sucks even with having them. Make it 1 in 10k and make the bounty tasks a little bit better for us. You know what I mean? Makes sense. The soup rates, guys. The soup rates. They released the drop rates of the pet. You can get them from the trials only if... do you have to make the time? Yeah, only if you make the time. It's a 1 in 3,000 effectively-ish. You know, it kind of works out that way. On the Gwyneth Glide, because for the Marlin time, if you're doing Marlin, that is, you get 3 rolls. If you do the shark time, you get 2 rolls. If you're only doing the swordfish, the easiest one, you only get 1 roll at it. I understand fully. Let's just wrap up with this. I understand fully why people are upset. Their bread and butter, their coziness, their safe space, their salvaging, their AFK activity got nerfed to the ground. Should it have been nerfed? Yes. Should it have been nerfed to the ground? No. Was it overcooked before? Yes. Did they overcook the nerf? Yes. I think they nerfed this way too much. I think they should consider the changes I suggested. Bump this back up by maybe 80 to 90% more than what it is right now. Show my XP per hour I won't? Oh, sure. I'll canvas this for you, bro. Now, I'm not hitting my extractor too much. I am a little bit because it's on cooldown right now, but sure, I'll show it to you. Jagex, come on. Let's take another look at this. Let's be realistic about what people are looking for when they're AFKing. This is not shooting star mining. This doesn't have to be just like shooting stars. Oh, look, I got another dragon nail rolled. Thanks, Jagex. This doesn't have to be shooting stars just because shooting stars is the way it is. It doesn't have to, you don't have to say, oh, well, shooting stars are this way, so this has to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. This can be better than that because mining doesn't go to 210k XP an hour. This skill does. So the AFK activity on this skill doesn't need to be in line with mining's AFK. That was a very long rant of me. And I genuinely intended today to log on and to have a very calm, objective discussion about all of this. I got a little bit too passionate about that, I think, but still, I didn't intend to rant today. I really did not intend to rant today, but the changes to salvaging, I think necessitate some ranting. I don't love it. Being said, I will still say this. I have a different perspective than all of Reddit right now. Even with the changes that they make, I still love the skill. I still think it's in a great spot. If they made no changes today versus where it is right now, I'd be fine with it. I wouldn't be as happy. I think it could be in a better space, but I'd still be fine with the skill. I'd still rate the skill pretty highly. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that if you're actively AFK, you know, and that's a bit contradictory, that you're getting 60k an hour. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that if you're fully AFK, you're getting like 40k an hour because it's a 30-minute AFK. They make a good point when they say that it's a 30-minute AFK. I understand that Jagex doesn't want to fall into another situation like they did with birdhouse runs, where the most efficient way to do birdhouses is, or to do hunters, just do birdhouses, right? I get that. They're trying to get ahead of that. They're trying to make it to where you don't power through the skill in 2 weeks and never touch it again. They're trying to make it a little bit more, you know, longevity focused. I get it. It's fine. I would not be upset with it if it didn't change from where it is. It's the skill's fine, but I think it can be improved. I think it can be better. Agreed. Salver's paint would be fine to be 1 in 24,000 or whatever it is if you could get it from all of the different salvaging. But the fact that you can only get it from mercenary at a 1 in 24k rate is ridiculous. Are we saying that salvage should have had a nerf, but the way they did it was not the way to do it? Correct. I think that the nerf was fine, was justified. I don't like the way that they went about it. I think I've suggested a lot of changes they can make. I hope that they consider those. Okay. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, and I'm gonna go do courier tasks. Oh, I forgot to talk about this. Hang on, we have one more thing, chat. I forgot to talk about this. Courier tasks. Let's go discuss this. Jagex is increasing the experience from completing courier tasks by 15% from all of them that are over level 40. This is awesome. Courier tasks needed this buff. They were too slow where they were. This is great. Here's the catch. You nerfed courier tasks by nerfing the extractor. I was getting 150k an hour yesterday while doing courier tasks with my extractor. Now, I wasn't hitting the extractor constantly, but say I get the same 150k an hour today with the 15% boost. You have now made it to where my 150k an hour yesterday is 172.5k an hour today. However, you took away 20k XP an hour worth of extractor potential. So now it's back down to 150k. So let's look at this again, Jagex. Let's buff the courier task XP rates considering the current extractor rate as well. Surely 150k an hour is fine for how laid back it is. Giga DC, I challenge you, sir. I challenge you to go do courier tasks right now and get 150k in 1 hour. Because if you don't know how courier tasks work, you're gonna get 30k an hour. It sucks. I'm not gonna say 30k an hour, but you're gonna get nothing near that. You will literally be at 80k an hour for a day straight until you learn it. Because courier tasks are not chill. There's so much that goes into understanding courier tasks. It's like my brain has to work in 8 billion directions. Courier tasks are way more complicated than almost anything else with sailing. To understand which one you should be doing, which ABA routes, checking the right ports at the right times, it's literally the most complicated part about sailing. It's way harder to get that perfectly right than it is to do the freaking trial for the same XP per hour. Let's go and chart this thing while we're on Windtumber. There we go. So when I did this the first time around, I actually like drove by with my ship and I charted from here. But if you're on the land when you chart it, you get the last medallion fragment. If you get all the medallion fragments, you don't know what to do with them. Maybe I got to go talk to someone. Thanks for calming me down. I was genuinely mad about the update, but you're 100% right. We got to trust them to make it right. It's not even like insanely broken as it is. It can be better. It can be better. There we go. Okay, we have a medallion of the deep. Get a little bit of experience for that. And I guess with this thing, I can breathe underwater, which means I will literally never use it because I can't actually breathe underwater with it on Fossil Island, the only place I would actually consider using it. So, you know, it just goes in the bank and it looks pretty now. Wait just a second. Where did I just teleport to? Oh no, big nerf chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They nerfed the telespot location 5 ticks away from the bank instead of 4. They nerfed it. Did you guys see that? Oh, shadow nerf. They didn't even talk about this. The best strategy to get soup will be find the highest level courier task with the lowest XP reward, potentially. I'm unsure about how soup works on courier tasks, and here's why. On this, Jagex says that the soup drop rate with courier tasks is based on the level required for the task, and it ranges from a 1 in 6,000 at level 1 to a 1 in 3150 at level 99. But there's no task that requires level 99. So is it the level required for the task, or is it your level that it bases off of? This right here implies that it's based on your sailing level, and this implies that it's based on the level of the task, which caps out at like what, level 75 or something like that. So what is it actually, Jagex? Don't know. Unclear. That's the Formuoli until 99? Maybe. I just think they should clarify that. I'm telling you guys, I'm getting the pet today, man. I'm going to get the pet today from courier tasks. I'm just feeling it. We'll get an idea, though. I was getting about 150 to 155k XP an hour yesterday doing my courier tasks. So let's do this for a while and let's see what we can actually get XP-wise now. Because they supposedly buffed the rates by 15%. But we'll see how impactful that is with the crystal extractor being nerfed. Do you think courier should give more actual rewards than a little bit of GP? When you get a higher level, they should give way more GP. I'm doing courier tasks and I'm getting 150k GP an hour at level 95 sailing. 150k GP an hour. That's kind of ridiculous, is it not? Is it expensive to teleport your boat? If you put a regular telefocus on it, you can teleport it to you with the spell, summon boat spell. Then it's not expensive. Ah, clam! The clam! We get a new clogger! We don't get a new clogger. I couldn't put anything in it last time. I didn't have anything on me. Never mind. Instead, we're going to put a dragon dagger in it. We'll get something next time. Why am I using a skiff over a sloop? The benefit of a sloop is you have more spots for kegs. So you can have a 2.5 XP keg. You can have a ocean encounters keg. I don't have that, but I did have enough dragon nails to make a rosewood skiff, but not enough dragon nails to make a rosewood sloop. I wanted to do courier tasks, so I decided to commit to the rosewood skiff. So I'm using this one instead of that one. I'm negating my chance to have the kegs for the increased chance of other things, but I moved 20% faster. So it was better for me to do this. They murdered the extractor. Honestly, I think it's fine, man. The primary purpose of the extractor is to get a win mote, not to get a 600 XP drop. I think it's fine. Oh, I have a big suggestion with the extractor to make it better. And I forgot to mention this in my rant, but this is very important, Jagex, and I hope you're listening to me. You nerfed the extractor from 600 XP to like, what is it, 275 now maybe? But here's the thing. This is how you can improve it and make everyone's lives better. It takes 4 ticks to interact with the extractor right now. Change that to 2 ticks. Make it to where you don't have to be going straight as long to interact with the extractor. Make it a 2-tick interaction. It would make it so much better quality of life wise. It would make the 250 XP feel better. It's a logical nerf because it's not giving 600 XP. It was 600 on a 4-tick. Make it 250, but make it a 2-tick, man. Okay, so Jobless Jim gets a slot. Jolly Jim gets a slot. We're gonna add... well, these have 2. So Saeed gets a spot. He's at 3 deck handiness. Deck handiness 4 for Jenkins. And then 1 extra one could be either of these 2, I think. So I guess we'll try her. I haven't tried her yet. We'll put on Zara. We've got 5 now. 34 experience to sort merchant salvage now. Are you kidding me? Brother, it could be worse. You could be the guy on Reddit that was banking 10,000 merchant salvage to see what his loot would be like. And now he has 5,600 that he has to get 34 XP instead of 95 XP from. Could be worse. Here we go. Oh, I found it. We got it. All right, let's take a look, boys. Okay, we're back with a late in the day update. Understandably, today's update has spawned a lot of chatter. We apologize for the radio silence up until now, but we've needed time to chat back and forth as a team while keeping all of your feedback and valid frustration in mind so we can figure out the best next steps while delivering on our goal to fine-tune the sailing balance. Let's not beat around the bush and get straight to where our heads are at. We love AFK gameplay. We know you do too. There was never any intent for an extreme 20 to 30 minute AFK gameplay patterns to become part of sailing training. That's fair, but it's clearly something that's popular with many of you. Also fair. So it isn't something we're looking to remove entirely. That said, allowing methods with this level of effort to have good XP output isn't something that we believe is a healthy precedent to set. So we're not looking to significantly increase the strength of the 2 crewmate salvaging player sorting method. However, I think they're gonna take my idea, man. Hang on. Despite that, there's a chance that changes we'd like to make elsewhere will marginally improve XP output here, though we're not specifically making changes to improve the output of this method. It's clear that the change to sorting experience is a major pain point, and that many of you felt sorting is no longer worth it whatsoever, which has led players who were salvaging somewhat actively to take a bigger hit to their XP per hour than feels fair. We'll be looking at ways to improve the XP output of this more active self-salvage, self-sort approach so that it feels more worthwhile to do and you don't feel as though you need to drop all of your salvage and miss out on gaining resources. Additionally, we're planning on giving the glide some extra XP to compensate for today's crystal extractor due to reduce the feeling that you're putting in just as much effort as before but getting noticeably less out of it. Wait. But I'm putting in way more effort than before, or just as much effort as before, but I'm getting way less experience out of salvaging. Exactly this right here for salvaging. Because I have the feeling that I'm putting in just as much, but I'm getting way less out of it. Okay, anyways. We currently don't have any specific plans for port test tweaks. Keen to see how these develop. I think they're okay right now. They keep mentioning this, and they mentioned it in the blog post earlier, that as methods develop and blah, 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 which implies that we haven't figured out the meta for port tasks yet. Just something to note there. Second time they've mentioned it today alone. But remain open to the possibility of giving them a further boost as needed. Tomorrow we'll be releasing a post diving into more detail on the above and where we expect them to sit in terms of rates. Then if those sound like something you're on board with, we'll get to work on getting sailing back into a happier place. While it's been heated today, we genuinely appreciate your passion, all the discussion, all the feedback you've provided with today's updates. Check back into you tomorrow for more specifics. Cool. Yeah. You know, honestly, some people have said this is a nothing burger post, blah, 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 blah. No. This is still a good thing. It is freaking late in the day there, and they're still giving you a, hey, we understand. We're on it. We're going to make some changes still. Don't freak out. It's not the end of the world. You're still going to be able to sail tomorrow. Like, it's fine, man. It's fine. What I expect to come from this is encouraging the improvement of player salvaging, right? And cabin boy salvaging. You and cabin boy both salvaging together at the same time, where your salvage automatically restarts when the thing comes back up, and somehow improving, and I think I know how this is going to work, by the way, somehow improving the cleaning the salvage. What I think they're going to end up doing, based on how this reads, I think they're going to make two different salvages. A scuffed salvage that your cabin boy and homies pull up, and a good salvage that you pull up somehow. I don't know how that logically makes sense, but somehow it makes sense somehow. And then when you're cleaning your good salvage at the salvage station, you get more XP for the good salvage, but maybe the base XP that's currently right there for the scuffed salvage. Perhaps they do it something like that. I don't really know. I'm not sure. Yeah, pure salvage and rune salvage, like rune essence and pure essence, right? Does it make sense? I don't know. I don't know. But something they could do. It would improve the cleaning rates. It would improve the XP rates while AFK salvaging. It would improve your ability to AFK salvage. Is it the best fix? No, so they probably don't do that. Okay, scratch that. They probably don't do it. It doesn't make sense that you pull up a good salvage and your guy pulls up a bad salvage every time. It doesn't make any sense, dude. It doesn't make any sense. So they can't do that. Listen, again, Jagex, I have the fix. Put it back to how it was. They didn't address that the dragon cannon got nerfed a ton for drop rate with slower salvage. That is a very good point that I don't think many people have identified, man. If you're not 1.5 ticking salvage, because salvage comes in at a slower rate now overall, the cannon is more rare now than it used to be, because your dudes are now 5 tick for salvage instead of 3 tick, and you are now 5 tick instead of 4 tick. That's a significant nerf. That is a significant nerf to the dragon cannon barrel. In fact, I'm gonna go invest in more cannon barrels now. That's a good point. I literally, we've never considered that at one point today, man. And we've been talking about this all day. Big 96 sailing. Guys, I think we've finally figured out the courier routes, man. We're sustaining 165 to 170k quite easily today. We got a Aldrin to Prifdinus ABA. Perfect. So, again, double the experience. I'm at Prifdinus. It wants me to go all the way down here and then bring it all the way back. So it's double experience, but I'm going to skip that double experience by teleporting to Aldrin and starting my trip there. And that's why the ABAs are strong. So we've got a really good setup here. We'll get rolling on it. We stop here. We pick up this cargo. We're going to drive down to Deepfin now and pick up that cargo. How do we get to Prifdinus fast? Really clever tactics, man. So I'm using my skiff to do all of the courier tasks, but on my sloop, I have a greater teleport focus because I got the bottled storm, right? So I actually park my sloop at Lunar Island. That way, when I need to go check the lunar board, I can teleport with the spell to my sloop rather than teleporting to lunar and then running all the way to the dock. Oh, the clam! Dude, it's been so long today since I've gotten a clam. Slow down!
Collection log slot.
It's been so long since I've gotten a clam today. We give him another one. We have 2 to go, I think, guys. Take the battle staff, my man. Ocean encounters, 2 to go. 2 to go. That's a huge pearl, man. And then there's the board resets. The dog! Save the dog! Oh, it's not the dog. Never mind. It's just a lady. Hate when I have to save the lady. She's just like, oh, I would have been lost at sea forever. You were a 2-second swim away from the port, lady. Lazy. Watch her. Oh, and this day could have been my last. Like, you're right by land. I picked you up right there. Just swim to here. We've got one last run today, boys. One last run across the ocean to try to get the pet today. Not bad, though. I mean, we've pulled over 900k XP today, only doing port tasks. And we haven't done it the entire day. We've done it about, 7 of the 8 hours that I've streamed today. Plus some downtime overall as well. So really not terrible experience today doing this. Like, realistically, I've probably averaged closer to 150k an hour today. But when actively doing it constantly, I'm really looking at like 165, 170k an hour. A little bit better than yesterday. Part of that reason might be that I'm using the right NPCs now on my team, because I can have 5 crewmates now at level 95 plus. But yeah, I'm pretty content with how courier tasks are right now. I don't think they really need to be buffed. I think they could be buffed just slightly because of the crystal extractor nerf dropping down the XP. But I think it's pretty good right now. I'm happy with this. Really good pet rate, probably the best way to get the pet in the game, and gives a very, very reasonable alternative, I think, to the Gwyneth Glide. So if this is something that you guys are looking for and you don't want to go do agility, boat agility, I think this is a really good option. Something that should be considered by more people, because I don't really think too many people are giving courier tasks a chance right now. Now, obviously, it's going to be mega improved if you're using a good boat like I am. I've got the high-end boat with the high-end sails. So it's going to be way better if you're doing this. But I think it's in a good spot. Otherwise, thanks guys for listening to my rant this morning. I know that I'm not super excited about the salvaging change, but I also think Jagex is going to adjust it further. I don't think they're in their final form of salvaging. I think we're going to see a change tomorrow. By the time you see this YouTube video, it'll probably already be active if I had to guess. But, I think that's where we are right now. World's still full. Maybe it wasn't nerfed enough. No, they just dropped. Wiggle my way in here. All right, gents. Hey, thanks for chilling with me today, boys. Have a fantastic night. Pick up some Cook Unity. Make sure you're eating well with some really tasty chef design meals. I will see you guys tomorrow.